28, darling. I know you know this next guest.
Yes, amazing king, amazing man of God, who I had the privilege of meeting probably, I don't know, it's been some years. All I know, I met him at a real estate event. One of my mentors was hosting in Vegas, and then a very traumatic experience happened with my family, and he paid his way to come and see about my family when my brother was murdered out in Texas. The physical therapist, it was on a national stage and everything. So during that time, a lot of people was around us, but he was one of the genuine ones who really cared about our family and stayed in contact with us and would check on my mama. And I know she's so happy you're here with me on tonight. But I want to welcome to this platform my brother, Mr. Jay Morrison. So happy to have you here on tonight.
Thank you both for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. Wow. I like your jewelry. We got to get the hookup on that. But really, God has really blessed you. And you have a passion.
I do.
About financial literacy. Mm-hmm. And tell us about that passion that God has given you.
Yeah, you know, I think God's given me a very unique journey and testimony. You know, I grew up to a teenage mom who literally got off the abortion table to have me. And we grew up in poverty and we struggled. And so I also was a high school dropout and started selling drugs at 15 years old and didn't leave the streets till 25 years old. Yeah. Was a 3-time felon by 21 years old. Served 2.5 years in prison by 21 years old. And as I made my way into real estate, into business, and I found my professional calling, I thought about my younger self and what could have helped save me from facing 15 years in Maryland, three years of life in prison in Rikers Island in New York. And I was like, you know, if I would have knew was this easy to make money in the business world and in real estate, I would have took a different path. And so my passion came in 2012, my calling, leaving church. God literally said, take care of my people and I'll take care of you. And I was working for one of the largest luxury real estate companies in the country, in the world, Sotheby's International Real Estate.
Yes.
And I also was a celebrity realtor on NBC's Today Show. And God asked me to really walk away from the corporate and the limelight of that kind of corporate environment and to roll my sleeves up and get into the trenches. There were times I was teaching in inner city high schools a program called Hip Hop to Homeowners, where I would bring DJs in and teach our youth in inner cities financial literacy. But I would leave the schools where our kids were going to school with holes in their sneakers, and then I would go tour a $56 million house. And I was like, how is there such extreme wealth and abundance on one side, and I go a few zip codes over, and our kids could barely have an adequate pair of shoes on? And I said, well, as opposed to just ask the question or complain about it, I said, well, what can I look at me in a mirror and say, well, what can you do about it? And I was that kid going to school with the holes in my sneakers. And I said, well, you know, I've learned some gifts. God gave me some second and third chances at life. So I really dedicated my talents, my gifts, my charisma, whatever God gave me, I dedicated to serving those least amongst us.
Now, somebody's watching, and they're hearing you, and he's sounding really good. But in the African-American community, well, in the urban communities, there are some people that are saying, well, we hear a lot of talk about money, mm-hmm. and you need to be financially literate. You need to understand these things. But it seems as if it is a collegiate class that we are not ready or cannot understand. Can you help the average, and I don't want to use that, but the best way I could categorize it, right. The person, we want the money, but we don't know when they start talking about the dividends of this income and you multiply it by this, and it's like, well, I get lost in the lingo.
Yes, it's new language.
Can you help us understand that if we contact you or maybe go to your class or read your book, because he does have several books, mm-hmm. Are you able to help that person?
You know, I've been helping that person for the last decade. Literally, we've hosted 65 free corner classes in inner city street corners, teaching with a flip chart on the street corner, bringing this back to prisons, into all kind of underserved environments. And I teach, and I have my instructors teach to my 17-year-old self. I don't teach to sound smart, because I'm not really that smart. I don't have a college degree, or you know, I barely got out of high school with a diploma at an at-risk high school. But I did learn a new education in financial literacy, in real estate literacy, in credit literacy, wealth literacy. And that's all it is. It's just new language. The cool part about those who are the average Americans, the working class Americans, those who have survived struggle or obstacles in life, is that if you can figure out how to make breakfast with cornflakes and water, or how to make breakfast with French toast specialty with some plain toast and some syrup. If you can figure out how to survive in many of the environments we survive in, you can run circles around the boardrooms, right? So what I learned is that when you can survive many of our neighborhoods, right?
Yes.
We have a lot of persistence and resilience and innovative skills.
Yes.
All we need is, like you said, is the new lingo. So yes, at our university, legacycenteruniversity.com, we have trainings starting from my book, Hip Hop to Homeowners, to Lord of My Land, 5 Steps to Homeownership. We have a 12-step real estate curriculum that will show you. It's a video textbook, which gives you tests, quizzes, assessments, workbook exercises to do with your family. And we have online classes and mentorship programs for those who might be a little more sophisticated and say, hey, I got some money. I just want to know how to make some more of it. If you're equity rich, you're asset rich, cash rich, we can show you how to grow that wealth through legacycenteruniversity.com.
They're my friends you're talking to. They're my friends.
Yeah, your people.
You know, recently so I know you have a couple podcasts, but one that I really want you to talk about is Money Church. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I have a podcast, Money Church. We do it on Mondays usually. It's called Money Church Mondays. And it's called The Spirituality of Business. And it's how to live rich in real life. And a lot of times we get focused as entrepreneurs on earthly riches. And then sometimes us on our spiritual side, we get so caught up in spiritual riches. But God wants us to have both, I believe.
Amen.
Yes.
Right. He wants to live in abundance. And so Money Church is something I do with my, I call him Bishop, he's overseer, Brian C. Dean. We kind of ping pong off each other. But it's really about raising our frequency. When you think about money, it's not just a dollar bill, it's currency. And currency is meant to be exchanged as energy, it's frequency, it's vibration. So Money Church is about allowing us to raise our spiritual vibrations, raise our personal vibrations, but do so in the context as entrepreneurs and wealth builders.
Awesome. Now, there is this huge project that you were the founder of. And it has gained national or nationwide attention. And it is something that was really unheard of for the African American community. Tell us about Tulsa.
Yes. In 2015, after the Freddie Gray uprising in Baltimore, I was an activist on the ground. After being an activist and partner with your family for justice, I was at a panel in the sound studios just like this. And during the panel, one of the members in the crowd said, we need to build a Black Wall Street to solve the communities within the urban community. And Black Wall Street was a self-sustaining black community in 1905, founded by O.W. Gurley, that built its way up to over 36 square blocks of 2,000 homes and businesses. And that community was infamously burned down in 1921 and massacred. So through that inspiration, I was like, well, what does that look like in 2015, 2016, 2017, right, in modern day? And I said, if we want to solve the issues in our inner cities and our communities, we have to have, build more institutions and more systems. So if poverty is an issue, you have to fight a system with the system. So I just used my gifts, my genius, to go to the SEC, Security Exchange Commission, put in a filing that was leveraged by the Jobs Act that President Obama had passed, which allowed for non-accredited investors, the everyday folk, to now invest with accredited investors. Accredited investor is someone that makes has a net worth of $1 million or more a year, or makes over $250,000 a year. So we launched this fund, Tulsa Real Estate Fund, to allow everybody to be able to invest and get together. For $500 minimum investment, you could have 10 member units of our company. So we made our company kind of public to everyone to be a part of. And with that offering, the community responded at large, globally, the whole diaspora. So we had over 15,000 members from 22 countries all come in to chip into this pot, if you will, of group economics. And we raised over $11.5 million in less than 3 years.
And I'm so happy to be a part of that
My
as a founder as well.
My partner, that's right.
Family, that's right.
Absolutely.
I know you do a lot in the community. And one thing that touched my heart when I saw the video of a lot of the men coming together and teaching young boys how to tie a tie, which some people think that's so simple, but you'll be surprised. Me being an educator, and I'm a 6th grade science teacher. So we've had those professional days, and the little boy come because he didn't have a father in the home, and the mom didn't know how to tie the tie, and the male teacher would show him how to tie.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about that program and how our viewers, if they have young boys, can take part in what you're doing.
I would love for them to. Yes, so the program is called Big Brothers Anonymous. It's just a volunteer program that we do, which also has partnered with the My Brother Keeper Alliance of the Obama Foundation. And every first and third Saturday at the building that we developed with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, the Legacy Center, also known as the Black House in East Point, Georgia, every first and third Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we mentor young men ages 12 to 24. And something like as simple as tying a tie is so important because we call that physical appearance. And I believe in when you want to break through from adversity, especially, again, from those least amongst us, your physical appearance and your verbal appearance set the tone for how people look at you. So you look at me, I have no college education, I'm a 3-time felon, former high school dropout, but I'm also a fund manager. And before I told you all that, you never would have thought that that was my past by how I present myself and how I speak. So I show young men that no matter what adversity you come from, no matter what challenges that you have, there's no excuses, just results. We all have one life here on earth. You can complain and say what the system didn't do, what this one didn't do, my mama didn't do, my daddy wasn't there. Those things can be relevant, but you still got to live and make the most out of this one life that you have. Otherwise, you're going to just die with excuses, right? When you can die with wealth.
Yes.
So we mentor those men. We've been doing it for over a year. It's a passion project. There's no 501c3. There's no anything. We just men coming together. We call it Kings Building Kings. And we call our young kings, and we call ourselves wise kings. We don't want to be old just yet. So we're wise kings that are mentoring the young kings every first and third Saturday at the Legacy Center. And you go to legacycenter.com to be a part of that program.
Thank you so much.
I didn't know how to tie no tie either. I learned though. I really did. My father, bless his heart, he didn't live with us, so I didn't know. Thank God for Google.
that wins or not,
yeah. I didn't know how to. Some had them fancy. I didn't know how to do all that. But it's so good that you can share and impart wisdom. And by the way, I have visited you call it the Black House?
Yes.
I have visited there, and it is absolutely incredible.
State of the art.
It is incredible. I encourage anybody just to go there and look around. Well, can they do that?
Yeah, you can come tour the Black House. We want to encourage you all to host your events at the Black House. It's a 2.6-acre campus, 30,000 square feet, 5 minutes from the world's busiest airport, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, 2 miles from Tyler Perry Studio, and we offer spaces for birthday parties, for events, for corporate get-togethers. We have conference rooms. We have production studios, training rooms, all that on our campus. So we invite you guys to patronize us, but also to come tour, check it out, and see the history on the walls and see the development that came together from the largest and first Black-owned real estate crowdfund in the history of America.
Yes.
Wow.
You know, they say behind every good man there's a good woman, but I like to say beside every king there is a queen.
Absolutely.
And I want you to give a shout out to your queen.
Absolutely. I have to shout out my wife, Mrs. Ernestine Morrison, co-founder of the Legacy Center. She's an actress, viral poet, entrepreneur, and now a new mom to our daughter, Kobe, who is going on 15 months now. She's my third daughter of 3 beautiful daughters, Anna, London, and Kobe.
Awesome, awesome. What a beautiful family. And I love to see you and your wife work together and build together. And both of you all are such an inspiration. And I just pray greater success and protection and blessings over you and whatever you all decide to do in the future. Now, for me, when I visited the Black House, I literally wanted to cry. It was so emotional because I remember when we sat in Baltimore and we both was just talking. I think we were out there ministering and we came together and you were sharing some insight of business and you shared some things that you wanted to do. And then all of a sudden you felt led to come out here to Atlanta. We lived in California at the time. And it's so amazing how we end up here in Atlanta and to see what you have done in just a short little time. I want you to talk to those young people that may feel led, okay, they feel God is encouraging them to move somewhere. Like, I want you to talk to that person, that entrepreneur, that person that feel they have a big vision inside, but they're scared.
And that's all part of that living rich and high frequency and vibrations.
Okay.
Is you got to hear that voice that something told me. Okay. So you're going to listen. God's not an audible guy. He's going to come down, hey, you, move now, right? You have to be able to.
Please don't do that.
Right. You got to be able to hear that. I literally, and I believe in coincidences, like Queen Michelle, who was just on talking about numbers. I think those numbers represent cosigns and coincidences for her.
Yes.
So I was in Baltimore, in Atlanta, doing a corner class in Bankhead. I'm teaching in the street in the corner. CBS News came and covered all that. I was trying to get a rent-a-car, a truck, SUV. No SUVs at no rent-a-car spot. So I go back to the airport and I meet one of my students. He's like, hey, I'm part of the Jay-Morrison-Academy. I work at Enterprise. I get you a drop top. So he gets me a drop top. I wanted a truck. So I got the convertible down, right, after the corner class. Point to the story. I'm sitting in a parking lot of my hotel, dropping someone off, or someone else's hotel, dropping them off. And I'm telling them, I think Atlanta responds well to my movement. And as I say the word movement, somebody from across the parking lot who wouldn't have seen me if I was in a truck, 'cause I got the top down, they see me from across the parking lot and say, Jay Morrison, that's you? I respect your movement, bro. Keep going. And I looked at my man. He said, you know what you got to do, right? I said, yeah, I got to come here. And I moved a month and a half later from New Jersey to Atlanta and set up shop in 2016.
Awesome.
And since then, I went from a one-room office to a 30,000 square foot office building.
Speaking of movement, we gotta move. You gotta talk to this guy. You got to read up on him. You got to Google him. You got to connect with him.
Give us the website again.
Yes. Website, legacycenteruniversity.com. And remember, you don't have money problems. You don't have credit problems. You just got strategy problems.
That's all I can say on that one. Trent Carson.